welcome everyone to Behind the Mic Radio. I'm your host, Dawn Mack, and so very glad to be here with you on this Monday evening. I hope that you've had a wonderful day. I hope your weekend was even better, and that your week is off to a great start. It is yet another start to another week here on Behind the Mic Radio, and I must tell you, we've got a great week lined up, and we're waiting now for our guest for tonight to call in, and so many of you have probably been following him of late on the new OWN Network series, The Have and the Have Not. So we're very excited to be having him here tonight to talk about his character in the show and this, that, and the other. And if you're a huge fan of our guest and you'd like to call in and say hello, ask him a question about the show, or just ask him questions in general, you can dial 347-945-6965, and we'll be glad to take your call. So while we're waiting for our guest to call in, we're going to go ahead and play a brief number just to kind of pass some time. I had the privilege of interviewing this young lady a week or so ago, and she's a singer-songwriter, but she's also an actress, and so she's kind of got the best of both worlds, but she's got a new single out. She's really trying to get her musical career off the ground and launched, and so it was just such a fun interview, and if you get a chance to check out our interview with January Blue, just go to blogtalkradio.com. You can look for our show, Behind the Mic Radio, and just look for the interview. All of our interviews that we've done are listed, and you can download those or stream those at any time, 24/7, 365. So while we're waiting for our guest to call in, I'll go ahead and play a number now. This is by January Blue, and this is her latest. This is Trip to the Moon.
Champagne, a video game, a
January Blue and Trip to the Moon. That's her latest, and love her. She was just such a delight to speak with. And, again, if you want to check out any of our past interviews, you can just go right here to blogtalkradio.com and look for our show Behind the Mic Radio, and you can access any and every one of our podcasts that we've done to this point. You can also access those on iTunes if you're a big iTunes download fan like myself. And get those right on your portable devices or stream them, whatever you wish. Also, while we are still waiting on our guests, and I have a couple of announcements. The first thing is I want to let everyone know, which will be a little blurb towards the end of the show before we wrap about this, but we are now on Stitcher.com, and Stitcher.com is kind of like iHeartRadio, Pandora. It's a whole conglomeration of thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of radio shows. You just go there, you listen to all kinds of podcasts. You can download them. I mean, it's really cool, and they just set it up to where you can download the app to your mobile devices, but you can also stream them live. You can download them straight on your laptop, so you don't necessarily, you can listen to them when you're not online, which is really cool. But now all of our shows, Behind the Mic Radio, Jam and Jukebox, Life Beats, Beach Party, are all streaming there. And so that means, anytime you can catch us there as well. And also, we just found out last week that our Behind the Mic Radio show here has been selected by Blog Talk Radio as one of 300 top hosts throughout all the shows that they have on the network here on Blog Talk Radio. I think there's about 15 or 16,000 shows total. We're one of the top 300. And so they designed us a fancy schmancy logo, which we are very excited about. And so if you're kind of scratching your head of late, seeing, tweets and stuff with a different logo, and you're going, what is going on? I didn't change it. It was the wonderful stylings of Blog Talk Radio, courtesy of them, kind of our reward for being selected. And so we're so excited about that. So we're trying to showcase the new logo. We're really, really digging that. And so it's just, we couldn't be more ecstatic. I mean, it was quite surprising to us. We've not been on the air. We only started Behind the Mic back in February, so we really haven't been on the air a long time. So we were really floored when we found out we had been selected. So we're very excited about that. And so it's just really, amazing the things that happen here at Blog Talk Radio and how great they are to work with. They're a phenomenal organization. And I would just say if anyone's interested in radio, it is the place to be. So we are still waiting on our guest to call in, and just to I'll go ahead and give you some background on him because I have a feeling when he calls, we're just going to launch right into the interview because we didn't have a lot of time with him tonight anyway, so I don't want to waste any of his time when he does call. But to give you a little background, our special guest currently can be seen portraying the role of Tony Foster in the new hit series from Tyler Perry called The Have and Have Nots, which has just been picked up for an additional 16 episodes on the OWN network. He previously guest starred on Desperate Housewives, Cougar Town, NCIS, Hot in Cleveland, and The Closer, to name a few. His film credits include Cupid's Arrow, Walk Hard, The Dewey Cox Story, and Zombie Nation, and many more. And tonight we are going to be speaking with Patrick Faucette. So we're very excited to be having him on. And it may be that he's running late. I don't know if he had to work and to film today. But anyway, as far as I know, I heard from his agent about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. Everything was still to go. So unless there's a time confliction, him thinking 7 p.m. West Coast time, not East Coast time, then, I don't know, unless something came up last minute. But in any event, I appreciate you hanging out with us and just being here. And we do have one more announcement we want to make, and we're trying to make this known kind of across our network of shows because we want to let the listening audience know what's going on with our show and everything that's happening as it happens. And as you know, Behind the Mic is one of 4 radio shows that I own and run and host. And I know for some people that just makes people's heads spin when they see that and they hear that. But we have branched out so in the last year that we have decided to start a network to kind of house all of our shows under. Plus, on top of the 4 shows here, we have 2 radio stations over on live365.com. One is a, oldies beach and indie music radio station. The other one is strictly all holiday music. So we've just grown so in the last year that we've had to do something. So we have started a network. It's called Air Nation Radio Network. And the beauty of Air Nation Radio is not just a place to house all of our shows and our stations, but it also is going to be giving folks who want to build up listener bases on their own shows to come onto our platform, do their show, and have the same latitude and freedom that they've always had, but just have the platform to be able to broadcast here and to help build their audience. If for someone who's doing like a just recording a podcast and they want to have a place to put it and air it, this is the place. If there's someone that's doing a show on another network and they want to come try us out, they can. If you're an indie artist and you want to play a live impromptu, dumbed down kind of version of your live performance concert that you would do somewhere for your fan base for 30 minutes or an hour, you can do that. So the possibilities are endless. We are looking for hosts. We've got a few slots remaining on the network that we could take, and we would love to have some variety. We're very excited. We've got a few people that have happily agreed to come on board, and we're very excited to be joining forces there. People that I've worked with for some time now and consider to be some of my most esteemed colleagues in the industry, and I'm just so very excited that they're going to be a part of this with me. But it's going to be a coalition of just great radio shows bringing you the best content and the best guests that we could possibly find, and a lot of variety, too, in the personalities and in what we have to offer. So be looking for that. You can follow us on Twitter at Air Nation Radio. You can also check out our website, airnationradio.com, for details about how it all works. And if you're especially interested in joining the Blog Talk family through our network, we would love to hear from you. You can email us with any questions you have. It's airnationradio@gmail.com, and we'd love to work with you, and we welcome you aboard. So please check us out, if you will. And one of my colleagues will be making his premiere debut on the network tonight. I'm so excited about that. His name is Travis Nadeau. He runs an awesome show called Gabtown Divas, and he's been doing the show for a while. He's had some awesome guests. I mean, gosh, he makes me look bad some days. He just does so much hard work on his show. Love his logo design, love his branding, and he is actually a part of our network now and still going to be doing his thing right here on Blog Talk Radio at Gabtown Divas. And he's going to be bringing to you tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern a recent interview that he sat down and did with Wally Kurth, who many of you, if you're Days of Our Lives fans, you know that he plays Justin Kiriakis on the show. And I'm a new Days fan, by the way. I love Days. I'm so hooked now. I feel like I'm kind of cheating on Young and the Restless and CBS soaps because I've always been a CBS soaps girl, and just have gotten into Days. And it kind of by happenstance, I kind of fell into Days because I was interviewing people on the show here from Days, and I kind of wanted to have some knowledge base about the show, the characters. And next thing I knew, I was hooked. I watch it every day on my lunch hour. It's just crazy. It's one of those shows you get into it, you can't stop watching. So anyway, he's probably the biggest Days fan I know, and but he does a great show. He interviews a lot of those guys from Days. He also interviews a lot of different artists and celebrities and entertainers from all over the place. I don't know where he finds these people, but he has some of the best interviews going, and he's a great host. You'll love him. So tonight, if you're a Wally Kurth fan, tune in at 10 p.m. Eastern right here on the Air Nation Radio Network, and be looking on Twitter because you'll see the tweets going by from Air Nation Radio, Gabtown Divas, and you can pick up the link there for the show tonight. So we hope that you'll tune in. Well, we're still waiting on our guest to call in, and I'm thinking we're 15 minutes into this, and I'm thinking he's probably thinking it's 7 p.m. Pacific time, West Coast time. Oh, actually, no, he's calling in, I do believe. So we will see. Hello,
Dawn.
Hello.
Hey, yes. It's Cecilia. Sorry, I am driving and forgot to dial him in, but he's going to dial in himself right now.
Okay, perfect. That is fine.
It was my mistake. I wanted to do it before I started driving, and then I just got caught up in speeding. So he's going to dial himself in any minute.
It's not a problem, Cecilia. We're so happy. I've had several guests who are on West Coast time, and because this is East Coast time, they thought, and a few at times will think they're calling their West Coast time. So I thought about that. I thought, he might be thinking it's 7 p.m. West Coast time. So I better clarify that.
No, it was my time.
So
it was my fault. It was my fault because
not a problem.
Yeah, so he's going to dial himself in the next 5 minutes, and if he doesn't, just give me a call back on my cell.
Well, I think he's calling now, and I really appreciate you calling and letting me know. I greatly appreciate it, and we'll get the show on the road. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Have a good show. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Hello, Behind the Mic Radio.
Yeah, this is Patrick Faucette.
Well, hi.
Hello?
How are you, Patrick? This is Dawn, the host of the show. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing great. How you doing, Dawn?
Well, I'm doing wonderful. And I was telling your publicist, she was gracious enough to call because she was so apologetic that you weren't on the line yet. I said, no worries. I mean, I was afraid you were, like on that West Coast time thing because I'm on the East Coast time thing. And so sometimes that gets a little confusing for everybody. So it's not a problem. We're so glad to have you with us tonight.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
Well, I was just telling the listeners before you dialed in about this wonderful little show. Anything associated with Tyler Perry is always going to be a huge hit in my book. And this wonderful little show called The Have and Have Nots you are currently starring in. And I want to first congratulate you on the early success of the show because, wow, I mean, I understand that it's been picked up for an additional, 16 episodes or so?
Yeah, it's been really exciting. It's got a great response, and a lot of people are watching, and the numbers keep going up. So, yeah, Oprah ordered another 16 episodes, so I'm pretty excited.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Well, for those who have had their head in the sand and don't know what the show is, it offers quite an interesting story for viewers in that it follows the complicated dynamic between the rich and the powerful Cryer family and the hired help who work in their opulent Savannah, Georgia mansion. And it's the perfect setup for quite a compelling story, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's some serious drama between the haves and the have-nots.
Yes, I think so, too. And, talk a little bit about your character, Tony Foster.
My character, Tony Watson, I'm playing Benny, who's played by Tyler Leslie. I'm his father that left when he was a baby. And when I'm introduced into the show back in episode 7, Tyler set me up with his mom, Hannah Young, who's played by Crystal Fox, and he sets me up with her on a blind date, but he doesn't know that I'm actually his father, and he hasn't found that out yet. I mean, the audience knows now, because after he set us up and leaves, then Hannah asked me, does he know that I'm his father? And I say no, he has no clue. So that's kind of how I've been introduced to the show so far.
Well, and that in itself sounds really juicy. Like that's a great setup for what's to come with your character and that facet of the storyline as a whole. So it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds. I mean, it is I love the fact that, Oprah, she's so brilliant, and then when you pair her network and you've got Tyler Perry, who just is a brilliant screenwriter, and he just does some amazing things as it is. But, I'm just so happy that there is a drama on network television. I mean, we don't have enough of those. I feel like we're so overrun with reality television sometimes that,
I know.
Good quality television programming is just gone by the wayside. So when I found out that this show was going to be on OWN, I was just so ecstatic, not to mention because it's on OWN, but just that it's something different, apart and different from what we have been so entrenched with, So kudos to both Tyler and Oprah for coming together on this thing.
I know, it's like two great minds combining to bring in this show. It's just amazing because they are like super icons in the business, and for them to team up, it's like it's going to be something.
Oh yeah, and I would almost go out on a limb and say that I would see. I know they have been friends forever and very esteemed colleagues, working together. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is not the first of many projects that they work together on moving forward, which would be awesome. I don't think any of us can get enough of Tyler Perry and the stuff that he puts out. Everything he does is just like gold. And you just love it. It's just that good. What do you find what have you found to be the most enjoyable thing about playing your character so far?
Probably working with the great cast and working with Tyler Perry. I mean, everyone is so giving as actors, and everyone is so nice. There's no prima donnas or no superstars. Everyone is really down to earth and will run lines with you. And Tyler Perry is such a great director and kind of the captain of the ship. You feel like you're in good hands and he's in charge of everything. So it was a great feeling working with the cast, working with Tyler Perry. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's got to be a dream come true. I know I hear so many times in interviews, especially younger actors that are just getting started and, what they're aspiring to, and they always, more times than not, I hear them say, when asked in an interview, who would you love to work with in the industry? And so many times over and over people say Tyler Perry. He's just a real icon in what he does, and he set such a tone for the way things ought to be done in the realm of writing and directing. He just does such a good job at it. What aspects do you think, of your own personality do you bring to this character, if any?
Well, Tony Watson, he's kind of a mystery right now because they haven't really given much of his background. You just know that he's Benny's father and that he was with Hannah at one time and that he was married and his wife has passed away. That little smoothness that I feel like I bring some of my calm and smooth personality to that character right now, and that kind of adds to the mystery of Tony Watson. So hopefully in the next 16 episodes we'll be able to explore his background and develop his character, and that'll be really interesting to see what comes out of Tony Watson.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now I want to back up for a moment and talk a little bit about how you got into the entertainment industry. What was the thing that kind of drew you to it?
Well, I started off as a musician. My mom is a musician. She's a pianist, and she's got a master's in music, and she always taught music in the schools and taught piano. And so as kids, we all had to play an instrument, and mine ended up being the bass guitar. So I was always kind of like a performer. Even like in junior high school, I was in 3 different bands playing. And then I went off to college to play football. So I was a football player in high school and got a football scholarship in college, and I wasn't really playing my music anymore. And then after I graduated, I moved to San Francisco with a bunch of friends that went to Boston University that were in the acting program. So when I moved in with them, I started going to some of their plays, and then they finally convinced me to do a play. And then I caught the acting bug and started taking classes, and then I was hooked. And then I moved to L.A. and started to try to pursue this film and television.
Well, and you've done quite a few things to your credit so far, I must add. And have you had a challenging role? I mean, what do you... In what you've done thus far, and you've had quite the portfolio, by the way, but what do you consider to be your most challenging role to date?
Well, I would have to probably say this Tony Watson, because as starting off, first of all, it's pretty daunting to work with such an icon of Tyler Perry, and then for him to have that confidence in you to actually, my role started off as just a 1-episode thing, and then when I got down there and we started shooting, after our first scene, they changed the script around, and made me into Benny's dad. And then we rewrote the whole next scene and improv'd it, and so that was really challenging to bring that creative force along with Tyler Perry. I mean, it was great that he had the confidence in me to do that, to where we kind of improv'd the next scene, and they wrote it out, and then we shot it. And then they said, what's your availability? I was like, I'm available.
It's hard, it would be hard to say no.
Of course, I know. I flew back to L.A., and then a couple of days later, I was back in Atlanta and shooting a couple more episodes. So it was beautiful.
Now, clarify this for me, because I wasn't real sure about this, but is it actually being shot in Atlanta, like Savannah, Georgia? Or Atlanta, where is it being shot at?
It's being shot in Atlanta at Tyler Perry Studios.
But
it takes place in Savannah, Georgia. That's where.
Okay, that's where I got Savannah from. Then, yes. Well, you know, as I've looked at, you know, I've seen the program and I've looked at the cast. I mean, this is one more sharp-looking, nice-looking cast of men and women. I mean, not only has Tyler Perry put together a cast of incredibly talented people, but, man, you guys look good on screen. So it is no surprise that he asked you back, you know, said, we've got to figure out how to get Patrick in here and have him in the story, not just a one-episode kind of deal. So I'm very glad that he did for your sake and as well as the show, because it sounds like your character has an air of mystery about him that, with time, as most dramas are, we will see just what's going to unfold, and that's going to be interesting, I think, not only for you playing the role, but also for the viewers.
Oh yeah. It should be interesting. I mean, it's almost like a blank canvas to paint on to make this character so deep and give him a lot of different layers and write him some good drama.
I know, and you know, viewers love that sort of thing anyway.
Oh yeah.
The more drama there is, the better, and that's really, I think, what makes ratings. You know, so well, you know, this is kind of off the subject, but would you know, now that you've kind of had a good taste of all kinds of, you know, you've done television, you've done film, you've even done theater. I mean, you've done several different forms of acting, but would you ever consider writing, directing, or producing down the road?
Sure. I mean, I've done some writing. Myself and a friend of mine that I grew up with, who's also out here acting, we did some writing and wrote some short films and shot them ourselves. And he's more of the director type, and I'm more of the writer type. So, but we both played and starred in these short films that we wrote. So yeah, that was almost a natural progression for an actor to kind of put his own ideas down on paper and try to bring them to life. So yeah, I would definitely consider it.
Well, if the acting bug had not bitten you, do you think you would have continued to pursue music and kind of gone along that vein instead?
I probably would have, because I love playing the bass guitar. I played the bass, I played stand-up bass, the double bass, and so, I mean, actually, at one time, when I first moved out here, when I first hooked up with my manager, a role came open for a part in Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox Story, and my manager calls me and she's like, "Oh, I see you play the bass guitar," and I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Do you really play?" And I was like, "Yeah, I really play." She's like, "You can play stand-up bass too?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can play any kind of bass." And she's like, "Okay, I'm going to send you on this audition." I went on the audition, and I had to be able to play the bass. And then my first audition that she sent me on, and I booked it, and when I was on the show, we had the music supervisor. They rehearsed us for a week to play a bunch of songs in the show. And so I was able to mix them both, the musician and the acting together. So that was fun. Well, hopefully we can do that again.
That's kind of like having the best of both worlds, too, in that instance, which how often does that happen,
I know.
Well, I want to thank you so much for just spending a little bit of time with us this evening and talking about the show. It's so exciting. It's off to a great start. Kudos to Tyler Perry and the whole crew, cast and crew, for just making it a huge success so soon. And I have a feeling we're going to be seeing it for a good while to come. So thank you so much for being with us and sharing about the show and your character.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, you're very welcome. And as the show unfolds, and anytime you want to come back and we talk, about it, I'd love to have you. So, best of luck for much continued success.
Thank you so much, Dawn.
All right. Take care and have a great evening.
All right. You too.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We've just been chatting with Patrick Faucette, who currently plays the role of Tony, and I think he kept saying Watson. I had Foster, but obviously I was incorrect. But needless to say, he plays on the wonderful OWN network Tyler Perry show called The Have and Have Nots. If you haven't seen it, it is getting ready to, it's currently shooting for a brand new season, and as I was saying earlier in the interview, it's been picked up for 16 more episodes, which is pretty huge. Most major network series don't even shoot for that many episodes in this day and time. It seems like you get into it and the season's over before you know it. So that's huge for Tyler Perry. It's huge for the show. It's huge for the OWN network. So, and it's quite the drama. So if you love a good steamy drama, that's the show to watch. And again, we want to thank our special guest this evening, Patrick Faucette, for being with us. And thanks to all of you for being here and joining us. If you're brand new to our program, welcome aboard. We're always glad to have brand new listeners, and we hope that you will be back again. And we have a couple nights off, but we'll be back here later in the week. I believe it's Wednesday night. We have a multi-award-winning singer-songwriter who is only 16 years old. Her name is Abby Ann, and she will be here. So be on the lookout for promotional tweets about that. But in the meantime, we're going to wrap this up, and we'll see you again real soon. Again, reminding you, tune in to Air Nation Radio later tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern, for the premiere of Gaptown Divas radio show. And Travis Nadeau, the host of Gaptown Divas, will be bringing to you his recent interview with Wally Kurtz. So it's going to be great. So be looking for that. And again, thank you so much, and we'll see you again real soon. Take care, all. Good night.
Hey, you, the one listening to this, go to Stitcher.com and download the free app. It's a free app that lets you listen to our show 24/7, 365, anytime you'd like. You don't ever have to miss another episode again. And you can listen to thousands more shows and stations just like ours. So go now. Download it to your mobile devices, your Androids, your iPhones, your iPads, whatever you got. It's Stitcher.com, and it's free. Thanks for listening to tonight's show. You can connect to Behind the Mic Radio on Twitter at BT Mic Radio and on Facebook at Behind the Mic Radio. Check out our website at BehindTheMicRadio.com. Also, follow us right here on Blog Talk Radio, where you can stay up to date on all upcoming shows. Every episode is available for immediate download upon the conclusion of each broadcast, and as always on iTunes. Thank you for joining us.